Kia ora everybody, Robett Hollis here, and welcome to 2016 and my first video review. So at the start of this year I decided that I'd try and read, actually behind me, San Francisco. Bloody lovely, look all the way around, sit back there, not a bad spot to be hanging out on a rooftop, just sort of chilling. Anyway, this year I set a goal for myself for every week to be able to read one book a week every week throughout the whole year, and I've done the first week, and this week's book was Gary Vaynerchuk's Jab, 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 Right Hook. So for those of you who don't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, he's an absolute legend. He turned his when he was young, he took over his father's liquor store, turned it from a $3 million business into a $60 million business, and then started a media agency and a bunch of stuff. Otherwise, he's kind of on the lead there. And his goal in life is to buy the New York Jets, which is funnily enough because my goal in life is to buy the Oakland Raiders. So, I mean, shit, he'll probably get there before me, but one day that would be, it's good to have those big goals anyway. Week one, Jab, 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 Right Hook. What this is about, I just figured if I'm going to be reading it, I may as well pass on the information to you guys as well. But funny enough, the whole concept of the book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, is taken from boxing, essentially setting up for the big punch. So ducking, moving, using time to be able to get to the right spot to be able to finally execute the big right hook. And so the translation into business was essentially translating Jab, 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 Right Hook into give, and then finally the ask. So adding value, wanting nothing in return, and then finally down the line. Because I guess online there's a lot of right hooks just thrown all the time of just like, hey, buy my shit here, follow me here, put my link, and it's just like so consumed, and everyone just sort of turns off to it really quick because it just gets a little frustrating and blah, I guess. So that was the whole concept. Throughout it as well is he goes into basically kind of a top line overview of each of the different social media platforms, and like making sure like it lines up with your DNA and some of the brands it doesn't quite fit. And if you're in media or brands or celebrities or whatever, there's different platforms which suit people better. So for me personally, because I can talk shit pretty easy about pretty much most things, video sort of works. So I guess if you're a writer, you can work on that, the rest of it. But it has a bit of a cheat sheet through there. Another one that was really interesting was talking about the change in social media, how if you rewinded, say 30, 40 years or whatever it was always the big brands would be telling the customers, kind of like speaking to the customers. But now now with technology and social media, because everyone can sort of chat and talk again, it's actually trying to use it the other way around. We're trying to educate brands to realize that they can use social media to listen. So instead of speaking to everyone, listen. Which is actually an interesting thing. So he was saying how he built his wine business. He was talking about Chardonnay, or he was doing whatever. He'd go around and just give add value to everyone else the whole way without asking anything, and sort of let them do it, and then listening to what their problems they had, and then solving their problems. So just like adding value the whole way up, and then finally having the ask at the end. So I guess in a lot of ways this whole thing that I'm doing here in some ways might be similar. I guess add value, pass on information wherever possible, and then down the line it is what it is, but with kind of nothing really attached to it, which is sort of cool. And then another point that I really liked about the book, Gary Vaynerchuk's Jab, 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 Right Hook, was about how the game's total changed in terms of timing and life cycle. So he made the comparison, if you looked at 30 years ago, the Mad Men years, basically they would copy paste, rinse, repeat, drop a couple of million into campaigns and sort of just crank around. And now that whole timeline of what happened for 30 years is now totally changed. So that's almost gone to the fact of he's saying, every 3 weeks there's a new startup, every 3 days there's a new startup, every 3 weeks there's a something else new, every 3 months there's a new platform, every 3 years the big dog potentially has gone down. Like even just look at Motorola, out of business. Look at yellow cabs in San Francisco, out of business. All these sort of things, how that whole time shift is crunched right up. So being able to leverage and utilize technology is probably a key part of it, and being able to use it to listen, which was cool. So lessons from Gary Vaynerchuk's Jab, 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 Right Hook. Give, and then ask with whatever you're doing. So adding value to others, and then letting the right hook come down the line. Also being able to use social media to listen to. So if brands or whatever, to listen to the communities, and then finally understand that with technology, that Mad Men era of what existed for 30 years is now just crunched right up, and it's pretty much done and dusted. So those were the three things. Really interesting book for week one of Gary Vaynerchuk's Jab, 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 Right Hook. One day he wants to own the Jets, one day I want to own the Raiders. one day we'll be in the Super Bowl, and then it's going to be great. So anyway, lovely day in San Francisco, as you can see. I'm kind of going to be all over it for the next couple of weeks, but yeah, awesome times, very good. Jeb Jab, I might put a link or something below so you can buy it, and then maybe Gary can buy me a beer. But awesome book, awesome guy. Add value, and then get yours down the line. Cheers.